Welcome. Tonight, we are going to explore the quiet, cold world of the North. We are going to look at how the Vikings lived. We are going to look at how they stayed warm. They did not have the fireplaces we think of today. They did not have stone chimneys. They did not have radiators. They had the Longhouse. Imagine a field of snow. The snow is deep. The snow is white. The air is very, very cold. In the middle of this white field, there is a shape. It looks like an upside-down boat. This is the Longhouse. The walls are thick. They are made of earth. They are made of turf. Turf is dense. The Vikings cut the turf from the ground. They stacked the turf. They stacked it layer by layer, layer upon layer, side by side. The turf walls were very thick. Sometimes the walls were 3 feet thick. Sometimes the walls were 6 feet thick. Thick walls keep the cold out. Thick walls keep the heat in. The cold stays outside. The heat stays inside. Outside, the wind blows. The wind is sharp. The wind is freezing. But the wind cannot get through the turf. The turf is a blanket for the house. The turf is a heavy, earthly blanket. Inside the Longhouse, it is dark. It is very dark. There are no windows. Windows let the heat out. Windows let the cold in. So, there are no windows. There is only the door. The door is small. The door is low. You must stoop to enter. You must bow your head. The door is made of thick oak. The oak is heavy. The oak is solid. When the door is closed, the world disappears. The snow disappears. The wind disappears. Inside, there is the smell of wood. There is the smell of smoke. There is the smell of earth. It is a quiet smell. It is a heavy smell. It is the smell of survival. In the center of the Longhouse, there is a pit. It is a long pit. It is a shallow pit. This is the hearth. But it is not a fireplace in the wall. It is a fire in the floor. The fire is long. The fire is low. The fire burns slowly. The fire burns all day. The fire burns all night. It never goes out. If the fire goes out, the cold comes in. So, the fire stays. The fire glows. The smoke from the fire rises. It rises up toward the roof. The roof is made of wood and thatch. The roof has a small hole. A very small hole. This is the smoke hole. The smoke finds the hole. The smoke drifts out. Slowly. Very slowly. The smoke stays in the rafters. The smoke hangs in the air. It creates a layer of warmth, a layer of gray, a layer of peace. Along the walls, there are benches. Wooden benches. Long wooden benches. The benches are for sitting. The benches are for working. The benches are for sleeping. The benches are raised off the floor. The floor is made of dirt. The floor is packed hard. The floor is cold, but the benches are high. The heat from the fire rises. The benches catch the heat. The benches are the warmest place. Imagine sitting on the bench. The wood is smooth. The wood is old. Under the bench there is storage. There are chests. There are blankets. There are tools. Everything is organized. Everything has a place. In the dark, you know where everything is. You feel the texture of the wood. You feel the warmth of the fire on your face. The fire is fueled by peat. Peat is dried earth. It does not flame like high wood. It smolders. It glows red. It gives off a steady heat, a constant heat, a reliable heat. The Vikings gathered peat in the summer. They dried it in the sun. They stacked it near the door. Now, in the winter, the peat is ready. One block of peat, then another block of peat. The fire remains. Outside, the stars are bright. The sky is black. The ice is thick on the fjords. But inside the turf walls, it is different. Inside, it is orange. Inside, it is brown. Inside, it is safe. The walls are thick. The roof is heavy. The fire is low. The longhouse is a cocoon. It is a shell. It protects the people from the ice. Think about the rafters. The beams are made of pine. The beams are strong. They hold up the weight of the snow. The snow sits on the roof. The snow is heavy, but the snow is also an insulator. The snow keeps the heat in. The more it snows, the warmer the house becomes. The snow is a blanket of ice. The turf is a blanket of earth. The people are inside. They are warm. They are dry. They are still. Now, let us think about the clothing. The Vikings did not have synthetic fabrics. They did not have nylon. They did not have polyester. They had wool. Wool was their gold. Wool was their life. Wool was their warmth. Imagine the sheep. The sheep of the north are hardy. They have thick coats. Their wool has 2 layers. The outer layer is long. The outer layer is coarse. It sheds the rain. It sheds the melting snow. The inner layer is soft. The inner layer is fuzzy. It traps the air. It traps the body heat. The Vikings used both. They used everything the sheep gave them. In the winter, the women sit by the fire. They have spindles in their hands. The spindle turns. The spindle spins. Spinning is a slow task. It is a rhythmic task. Round and round. The wool becomes thread. The thread becomes yarn. Quiet. It is a soft whir. Whir. It is the heartbeat of the longhouse. They weave the yarn on a loom. A vertical loom. The weights are made of stone. The stones hang heavy. They keep the threads tight. The weaver moves the shuttle. Back and forth. Left to right. Right to left. The fabric grows slowly. It is thick. It is heavy. It is called vadmal. Vadmal is the cloth of survival. It is dense. It is almost waterproof. When you wear vadmal, you feel the weight. It is a comforting weight. It is like a hug from the fabric. The Vikings wore many layers. Layering is the secret to warmth. The first layer is a tunic. The tunic is long. It reaches the knees. It is made of fine wool. It is soft against the skin. It keeps the heart warm. Over the tunic, they wear a second tunic. One is thicker. This one is wider. It traps a layer of air. The air becomes warm. The air stays near the body. Air is the best insulator. Between the fabric and the skin, there is heat. Between the first layer and the second, there is heat. The cold stays outside the wool. The heat stays inside the wool. Then there are the trousers. The trousers are baggy. They are made of thick wool. They are gathered at the waist. They are tucked into the socks. The socks are not knitted like ours. They are made with a needle. One needle. This is called knot binding. Loop after loop. Knot after knot. The fabric does not unravel. If there is a hole, it stays small. The socks are thick. The socks are warm. Imagine the feet. The feet are inside the wool socks. The socks are inside the leather shoes. The shoes are made of goatskin, cowhide. The leather is soft. The shoes have no hard soles. To stay warm, they stuff the shoes. They stuff them with dried grass. They stuff them with hay. The hay provides more air. The hay keeps the feet dry. Dry feet are warm feet. Wet feet are cold feet. Now think about the cloak. The cloak is a large rectangle, a very large rectangle of wool. It is thick, it is heavy, it is often dyed. Maybe it is deep blue, maybe it is dull red, maybe it is the color of the sheep. The cloak is pinned at the shoulder. The pin is made of bronze. The pin is strong. The cloak hangs down to the ankles. It wraps around the body. It is a portable house. When the wind blows, you wrap the cloak. You pull it tight. You hide your hands. You hide your arms. The wool is greasy. The wool still has the lanolin, sheep's oil. The oil makes the water bead up. The rain slides off. The snow slides off. Under the cloak it is dry. Under the cloak it is still. At night the clothes do not go far. The Vikings do not have pajamas. They do not have thin sheets. The clothes they wear by day are their blankets by night. They lie down on the benches. They keep their tunics on. They keep their socks on. They spread the cloak over themselves. One cloak, two cloaks. The weight of the wool presses down. It settles, it warms, it protects.
Think of the texture of the wool. It is a little scratchy, but it is a warm scratch. It is solid. The fibers interlock. They hold the heat of the fire. They hold the heat of the body. Inside the wool, you are safe. Inside the wool, the winter cannot touch you. The ice is outside. The frost is on the door. But the wool is against your skin. The wool is your shield. The process of making clothes never stops, even in the dark of winter, even when the sun does not rise. The sound of the spindle continues. The sound of the loom continues. The rhythm of the work is steady. It is slow. It is calming. Pull the wool, twist the wool, wind the wool, again and again and again. The repetition brings peace. The repetition brings warmth. Every stitch is a defense against the cold. Every thread is a promise of survival. The Vikings knew the value of a thread. They knew the value of a warm cloak. They respected the sheep. They respected the wool. They lived inside the wool. They slept inside the wool. Imagine the Longhouse again. The fire is a low glow. The smoke rests in the rafters. Benches, wrapped in their cloaks, wrapped in their history. The wool smells of wood smoke. It smells of the hearth. It is heavy. It is warm. It smells like home. It smells like rest. Close your eyes. Feel the weight of the wool. Feel the stillness of the air. The winter is long. The winter is dark. But the wool is thick, and the wool is warm. Everything is okay. Everything is quiet. The sun has gone down. The long winter night has begun. In the north, the night is very long. The darkness lasts for many hours. It lasts for many days. Inside the Longhouse, it is time for rest. It is time to find a place. It is time to settle. It is time to be still. Imagine the benches once more. The benches are along the sides. They are wide. They are made of thick planks. They are the beds. But they are not beds for one person. They are beds for many. In the winter, the Vikings sleep together. They sleep side by side. They sleep shoulder to shoulder. This is how they survive. Body heat is a gift. Body heat is a resource. When the air is freezing, one person is cold. But two people are warmer, and three people are warmer still. A family is a circle of heat. They lie on the benches in a row. They share the blankets. They share the cloaks. They share the warmth of their breath. The warmth stays under the covers. The warmth builds up. It stays trapped against the wool. Think of the layers on the bench. First, there is the wood. The wood is hard. On top of the wood, they lay skins. Animal skins.
Reindeer skins. Reindeer hair is special. Each hair is hollow. A hollow hair holds air. The air inside the hair is warm. The skin is a thick cushion. It is a soft cushion. It keeps the cold of the wood away. It keeps the damp of the earth away. On top of the skins they lay down. They pull up the vadmal blankets. They pull up the heavy wool cloaks. The blankets are heavy. They press down on the body. The pressure is relaxing. The pressure tells the body to sleep. You feel the weight on your legs. You feel the weight on your chest. It is a safe weight. It is a steady weight. Next to you, there is the sound of breathing. Slow breathing. Breathing. In and out. In and out. The rhythm of the house is the rhythm of breath. Everyone is breathing together. The children are in the middle. The children are the warmest. The adults are on the outside. They are the wall. They are the protection. In the corner of the house, there are the animals. The longhouse is for people, but the longhouse is also for the cows. The cows have their own section. It is called the byre. There is a wall between the people and the cows, but it is a thin wall. The cows are large. The cows are heavy. The cows are very, very warm. A cow is like a large heater, a living, breathing heater. The heat from the cows moves through the wall. It moves into the living space. The smell of the hay and the cows is there. It is a farm smell. It is a natural smell. It is a warm smell. Listen to the sounds of the night. Outside, the wind is howling, the turf walls. But inside, it is quiet. You hear the crackle of the peat fire, a soft pop, a low hiss. You hear the cows shifting in the straw, a gentle thud, a soft rustle. These are the sounds of safety. These are the sounds of the winter home. The fire in the hearth is small now. It is mostly glowing coals. The coals are red, the coals are orange. They cast a dim light on the rafters. The shadows are long. The shadows are soft. There are no sharp edges in the dark. Everything is rounded. Everything is blurred. The smoke hangs high above. It keeps the heat from escaping through the roof. The smoke is a ceiling of warmth. If you wake in the night, you do not feel the cold. You feel the wool. You feel the fur. You feel the person sleeping next to you. The air on your face is cool, but your body is hot. Your body is tucked away. The Vikings did not need a fireplace in every room. They did not need a fire in every corner. They had each other, they had their animals, they had their thick, thick walls. Think about the silence, the deep silence of the snow. The snow muffles everything. It sits on the roof like a heavy quilt. It stops the sound of the world. The only world that exists is inside. The world is 40 feet long. The world is 20 feet wide. Inside this world, there is peace. Inside this world, there is life. The cold is a ghost outside the door. The ice is a stranger. Rest your head on the hay pillow. The hay is stuffed into a linen bag. It smells of dry summer fields. It smells of sunshine. In the middle of the dark winter, you smell the summer. You close your eyes. You listen to the fire. You listen to the breathing. You feel the weight of the cloak. You are warm. You are very, very warm. You are heavy. Bench. The darkness is a blanket. The wool is a blanket. The house is a blanket. Everything is layered. Everything is protected. The Vikings knew how to wait. They knew how to be still. They knew that the sun would return. But for now there is the dark. And the dark is okay. The dark is for sleeping. The dark is for dreaming. Imagine the glow of the embers, fading slowly, fading into the ash. The heat remains in the stones. The stones around the fire are hot. They hold the heat for a long time. They release the heat slowly, slowly, very slowly, throughout the night. The stones are the heart of the house. The heart is beating slowly. The house is breathing. You are part of the house. You are part of the circle. The cold cannot find you here. The wind cannot reach you here. The layers of wool are too thick. The walls of turf are too strong. The fire is too deep. You are drifting. You are floating in the warmth. The world is small. The world is safe. Sleep is coming. Sleep is here. When the winter is at its peak, the world slows down. The Vikings did not try to fight the winter. They did not try to stay as busy as they were in summer. They practiced the art of being still. They practiced the art of saving energy. In the Longhouse, the pace of life becomes like a slow river. A river that is covered in ice. Moving but barely moving. Flowing but very, very slowly. The morning does not bring a bright sun. The morning brings a dim, gray light. It is the color of wood ash. The family wakes slowly. There is no rush to leave the warmth of the wall. There is no rush to leave the benches. One person rises to tend the fire. They move quietly. They move through the shadows. They stir the embers with a wooden stick. The orange glow returns. The orange glow kisses the walls. The first task is the most important. It is the task of the water. The water in the buckets has a thin skin of ice. They break the ice. The sound is like breaking glass. Crinkle, snap. They place a pot over the fire. The pot is made of soapstone. Soapstone is heavy. Soapstone holds the heat. The water begins to warm. It does not boil quickly. It simmers slowly. The steam rises into the cold air. The steam disappears into the smoke. Winter is the time for small movements. The Vikings do not run. They do not strain. They conserve the heat inside their bodies. If you move too fast, you sweat. If you sweat, your clothes become damp. If your clothes are damp, you become cold. So, they move with intention. They move with a steady, calm rhythm. Every movement is purposeful. Every step is measured. The men sit by the fire to work on wood. They carve, they whittle, they make spoons, they make bowls. They repair the tools for the spring. Soft. Shave. Shave. The curls of wood fall into the dirt. They look like blonde hair. They are dry. Later they will be used to start the fire. Nothing is wasted. The women continue the work of the wool. The spindle never stops for long. But they also tell stories. Winter is the season of the voice. Winter is the season of the memory. They talk about the ancestors. They talk about the gods. The stories are long. The stories have many parts. They repeat the stories every year. The repetition makes the stories strong. The repetition makes the family feel safe. The words are like another layer of clothing. They wrap the family in history. Think about the food in winter. The food is preserved. It is dried. It is salted. They eat dried fish. The fish is hard. It must be chewed slowly. The slow chewing warms the jaw. The slow chewing passes the time. They eat porridge. Porridge. It is thick. It is warm. It sits heavy in the stomach. A heavy stomach is a warm stomach. A full stomach helps you sleep. Outside, the animals need care. The walk to the byre is short. The air outside is a shock. It is sharp. It bites the nose. It bites the cheeks. But the Viking is wrapped in vadmal. The Viking is wrapped in fur. They step into the snow. The snow is deep. Crunch. Crunch. The sound is loud in the silence. The only other sound is the wind in the trees.
The trees have no leaves. The trees are black against the white. Inside the byre, the air is thick. The cows are waiting. Their breath is like white clouds. The Viking gives them hay. The hay was gathered in the sun. The hay smells of August. The cows eat slowly. The cows are calm. They do not mind the dark. They do not mind the cold outside. They have their own thick skin. When the work is done, they return to the Longhouse. They brush the snow from their cloaks. They shake the ice from their boots. The heat of the hearth greets them. It is a gentle greeting. It is a smoky greeting. They sit back down on the benches. They take their places. The places they have sat for years. The wood of the bench is worn. It is shaped to their bodies. It is a perfect fit. In the afternoon, the light fades. It fades very early. By 2 o'clock, the shadows return. By 3 o'clock, it is dark again. They do not light many lamps. Oil for lamps is precious. Seal oil, whale oil. They use it sparingly. They use the light of the fire. The fire is enough. You do not need much light to think. You do not need much light to dream. The winter is a time of waiting, waiting for the ice to melt, waiting for the birds to return. But the waiting is not hard. A rest. The body recovers from the hard work of summer. The muscles relax. The mind grows quiet. In the Longhouse, there is no clock. There is only the fire. There is only the hunger. There is only the sleep. Imagine the stillness. No cars, no machines, only the sound of the wind. Only the sound of the peat burning. Only the sound of a story being told. The story goes on and on. The voice is low. The voice is steady. The words float in the warm air. They drift toward the ceiling. They drift toward your ears. You listen without trying. Your hands are tucked into your sleeves. Your feet are tucked under the wool. The warmth of the soup is still in your throat. The warmth of the family is all around you. This is how they survived. Not by fighting the cold, but by embracing the slow, by becoming part of the winter, by living in the rhythm of the dark, of peace. The turf walls are a shield. The wool is a sanctuary. Everything is quiet. Everything is slow. Everything is as it should be. The winter is long, but you are warm. You are very, very warm. In the deep heart of winter, the hands remain busy. The hands move even when the body stays still. The Longhouse is a place of small, quiet sounds. The sound of bone rubbing against wood. The sound of iron scraping against leather. The sound of a needle passing through wool. These are the crafts of the dark months, the crafts that do not require the sun. Imagine the smell of winter work, the sharp scent of pine resin, sticky and golden. It is used to seal wooden buckets, to fix the handles of knives. When the resin meets the heat of the fire, it smells like the forest, like a summer day among the pines. The clean scent cuts through the heavy smoke. There is also the smell of beeswax, hard in the cold, softened near the hearth. The wax becomes warm and pliable. It is rubbed into the thread. The thread grows strong. The thread becomes waterproof. A faint sweetness remains. Memory of summer bees, of flowers hidden beneath the ice. The men work with bone and antler, saved from the autumn hunt. Antler is hard. Antler is tough. They saw it slowly into pieces. Scritch, scritch, scritch. They carve combs. A Viking comb is a work of patience. Each tooth is shaped by hand, one by one, straight, smooth. The work takes days, but winter has many days. There is no reason to hurry. By the firelight, the mind grows quiet. The hands grow steady.
The women work with the null-binding needle, large, made of wood. They make mittens, for children, for men who walk into the forest. The stitch forms thick loops, dense, strong. Unlike knitting, it does not run, it does not fail. The mittens hang near the fire, heavy with melted snow. They steam softly. The wool tightens, the warmth deepens. It ages with the family, games fill the quiet hours, Nefatiful, a board of wood. Pieces of stone and glass. The king stands in the center. Click, clack. Moves are slow, thoughtful. A battle of the mind, a battle by the hearth. Children play nearby. Boats carved from bark, floating in water buckets. They imagine fjords. They imagine spring. They listen to stories. They learn the names of stars, hidden behind clouds. The Longhouse is a school. Winter is the teacher. The world becomes simple. Textures, warmth, shadow, smoked meat. Herbal ale brewed with meadowsweet. The taste of summer fields, warm in the belly, heavy in the limbs. Everything you touch has a story. Your clothes were made by your mother. Your bowl carved by your father. Your bench built by your grandfather. Effort by survival. The cold remains outside. Inside there is human warmth. Night deepens. Crafts are put away. The fire is covered with ash. The coals sleep beneath their blanket. You lie on reindeer skins, warm, protected. The Longhouse breathes slowly. Outside the aurora may dance, but you do not need to see it. You feel the earth. You feel safe. The winter cannot harm you. It is only a long, quiet dream. Everything is still. The comb is finished. The mittens are warm. The hearth glows softly. The family sleeps. You sleep. Rest now. Rest in the wool. The winter has been long. The winter has been deep. But time does not stand still. Even in darkness, the world keeps turning. Even in ice, the sun prepares to return. Inside the Longhouse, the Vikings feel the change. They feel it in the air. They feel it in the light. The cycle of the north begins to move again. Imagine the first morning when the light is different. No longer the gray of ash, but a thin, pale blue. Through the smoke hole in the roof, a narrow slice of sky appears, clear, sharp. They look up from their benches. The light touches the soot on the rafters. It glitters like black diamonds. This is the first sign. The sun is climbing higher. The sun is returning to the world. The survival was successful. The turf walls held. The wool cloaks held. The family remains together. The children have grown in the dark. The elders have told every story they knew. No. Now the rhythm begins to shift. Energy rises slowly, like sap in frozen trees. The house feels it. The blood of the Longhouse begins to move faster. Listen to the sound of the eaves. For months there was only silence. Now there is something new. Drip, drip. The snow on the roof is melting. Ice turns into water. Water runs down the turf walls. It sinks into the waiting earth. The earth is waking up. The smell of the house changes. Wood smoke meets wet ground. It is the smell of beginnings. The heavy door is opened wide, not for a moment, but for a long while. Cold air rushes in, not the sharp cold of deep winter, but a fresh, waking cold. It carries the scent of the sea. The ice on the fjord cracks and groans. Boom, crack. White breaks into blue. The water is free again. They step outside without their heaviest cloaks. Feels light on their shoulders. They watch the horizon. 5 hours of sun, then 6, then 7. Tools are carried outside. Plows are checked. Fishing nets are repaired. The wood carved by firelight is now used. Spoons touch bowls. Bowls are filled with the last winter grain. The animals feel the change as well. The cows grow restless. They call toward the door. They want grass. They want open air. They are led outside. Hooves sink into soft mud. Eyes blink in the bright light. Sun reflects off the remaining snow. The world glows gold. The warmth is gentle, but it is there. You feel it on your eyelids. The cycle of the north is a lesson in patience. Winter is the time of the soul. Spring is the time of the body. They endured the dark because they trusted the light would return. They did not hurry the seasons. They did not fight nature. Waited. They breathed. They survived. Inside the Longhouse, spring cleaning begins. Old rushes are swept away. Winter dust disappears. Blankets are carried to the stream. Wool is washed in cold, clear water. Water born from melting ice. The wool brightens again. Lanolin returns. Clothes hang in the wind. They flap softly. Smoke leaves the fibers. The wind carries salt and pine. Think of their resilience. No modern heat. No walls of fire. They lived with the earth, with animals, with one another. Warmth came from the heart of the house, from thick wool, from shared stories. Now the fire is allowed to rest. It is no longer needed as before. Days grow warmer. Time is spent in the fields. Earth is turned. Seeds are planted. The cycle begins again. But the Longhouse remains. The turf walls wait. The roof waits. Return, and they will be ready. As you listen to my voice, feel the peace of this cycle. A time for work, a time for rest, a time for light, a time for dark. Both are needed. Both are good. The Vikings found comfort in the dark, in the weight of blankets, in the glow of embers. You are safe in your own Longhouse now. Your bed is your bench. Your blankets are your wool. The world outside is far away. Modern sounds fade like winter wind. They cannot cross your walls. They cannot touch your warmth. You have what you need, your breath, your stillness. The story of the North is a story of rest, of knowing you are enough. Just being, just breathing. Winter is not a mountain to climb. It is a valley to sleep in, soft, white, quiet. Let your muscles grow heavy, like the oak door of the Longhouse. Let your mind grow soft, the rafters. Let your heart grow steady, like glowing peat beneath ash. The cycle is complete. The story is finished. Spring is a promise. Rest is a gift. The Longhouse is quiet. The sheep are sleeping. The fire is only a memory. The wool is home. Sleep now. Sleep in the cycle. Sleep in the peace. The heavy silence of the Longhouse remains, but the winter is long, and our journey moves now to another place of stone and ice. We leave the turf walls of the north and move toward the great stone walls of the castle. These walls are made of cold rock. These walls are tall and thick. The stone is gray. The stone is heavy. The stone has been there for 100 years. The stone does not move. The stone does not breathe. It is a world of hard surfaces. It is a world of deep shadows. It is a world where the cold lives inside the very heart of the building. The great stone walls and the breath of winter. The castle stands on a hill, The wind hits the stone. The wind tries to get inside. The walls are 10 feet thick. They are made of granite. They are made of limestone. The stone is very cold to the touch. If you press your hand against the wall, it feels like ice. The cold goes into your skin. The cold goes into your bones. The stone does not hold heat. The stone pushes the heat away. It is a giant shell of frozen rock. Inside the castle, the air is still. The air is heavy. The air is damp. You can see your breath in the great hall. Your breath is a small white cloud. The cloud disappears into the shadows. There are no large windows in the lower walls. There are only narrow slits. These are for light. These are for defense. The wind whistles through the slits. The wind makes a low sound. It is a lonely sound. It is a constant sound. The light that comes through the slits is gray. It does not warm the floor. The floor is made of stone flags. The stone flags are covered in rushes. The rushes are dried plants. They are spread on the floor to catch the dirt. They are spread on the floor to provide a tiny bit of warmth. But the stone underneath is always there. The stone is always waiting. Daily life in the castle starts in the dark. The sun rises late in the winter. The sun is weak. It does not reach the inner rooms. The people wake up in the darkness. They wake up in the silence. The only sound is the heavy breathing of others. The only sound is the crackle of a distant flame. They do not move quickly. Moving quickly is not for the winter. They move slowly. They stay under their blankets for as long as they can. The blankets are made of heavy wool. The blankets are lined with fur. The fur is soft. The fur is warm. Under the blankets, it is a different world. It is a small world of heat. It is a small world of safety. When they step out from the bed, the cold hits them. It is a sharp cold. It is a persistent cold. They put on their shoes. The shoes are made of leather. The leather is stiff. They put on their stockings. The stockings are made of thick wool. They pull them up high. They tie them with leather thongs. Everything is made of wool. The tunic is wool. The surcoat is wool. The cloak is wool. Layer upon layer of gray and brown, the colors of the winter, the colors of the stone. They do not dress for fashion. They dress for survival. They dress to keep the heat from leaving their bodies. The Great Hall is the center of the castle. It is a very large room. The ceiling is very high. The beams are made of oak. The beams are dark with age. In the center of the hall there is a fireplace. It is a large fireplace. It is wide enough for a man to stand in. The logs are large. They are oak logs. They are ash logs. The fire is the heart of the castle. If the fire goes out, the castle dies. The servants bring wood all day long. They carry the wood in their arms. They stack the wood by the wall. The wood is dry. The wood smells of the forest. The wood smells of ancient earth. The people gather near the fire. They sit on wooden benches. The benches are placed close to the hearth. The heat from the fire hits their faces. Their faces are warm. Their faces are red from the glow. But their backs are cold. The cold air moves behind them. The cold air comes from the stone walls. It is a strange feeling. It is a feeling of being half warm and half frozen. They stay in this position for hours. They talk in low voices. They do not waste words. They do not waste energy. They watch the flames. The flames are orange. The flames are yellow. The flames dance on the stone. The fire creates a circle of light. Outside the circle, the shadows are deep. The corners of a hall are black. You cannot see what is in the corners. You only know the stone is there. The stone is always there. The tapestries hang on the walls. The tapestries are thick. They are made of woven wool. They show scenes of hunts. They show scenes of battles.
They are not just for beauty. They are for warmth. They cover the cold stone. They stop the damp from moving into the room. They move slightly in the draft. They look like they are breathing. They are the skin of the stone room. The routines are the same every day. The routines do not change. Routine is the way the mind survives the winter. In the morning, they break the ice in the water basins. The ice is thin. The ice is clear. They wash their faces with the freezing water. The water wakes up the skin. The skin feels tight. They eat their morning meal. They eat bread. The bread is hard. They dip the bread in warm pottage. The pottage is a thick soup. It is made of peas. It is made of beans. It is made of onions. It is a heavy food. It warms the stomach. It provides the fuel for the day. The servants work in the kitchens. The kitchens are warmer than the hall. The ovens are always hot. The smell of baking bread is everywhere. The smell is a comfort. The smell is a promise of life. The servants move in a steady rhythm. They stir the large iron pots. They turn the meat on the spit. The fat drips into the fire. The fat makes a hissing sound. The smoke rises through the chimney. The chimney is a long tunnel of stone. It leads to the cold sky. The smoke is gray. The smoke is thick. It carries the smell of the castle out into the winter air. The lords and ladies stay in the solar. The solar is a smaller room. It is higher up in the castle. It has a smaller fireplace. It is easier to heat. The floor is covered in thicker rushes. Sometimes the floor is covered in herbs. The herbs are dried lavender. The herbs are dried mint. When you walk on the rushes, the smell rises. It is a clean smell. It masks the smell of the damp stone. They spend the afternoon sewing. They spend the afternoon reading by the light of the fire. They do not look out the windows. There is nothing to see but the white snow. There is nothing to see but the gray sky. Silence is a big part of castle life. The snow outside muffles all sound. The thick walls inside stop all sound. You can hear the sound of your own heart. You can hear the sound of the wood shifting in the fire. You can hear the scratch of a pen on parchment. The silence is not scary. The silence is a blanket. It is a way of resting the mind. In the summer, the castle is loud. In the summer, there are horses and shouting. In the winter, the castle is a tomb. It is a quiet place of waiting. It is a place where time slows down until it almost stops. The sun begins to set in the early afternoon. The light fades from gray to deep blue. The shadows in the hall grow longer. The candles are made of tallow. Tallow is animal fat. Tallow has a heavy smell. Tallow flickers. The light of a candle is small. It only lights a tiny space. They light the torches on the walls. The torches are made of pine soaked in resin. The torches roar. The torches give off a lot of smoke. The smoke rises to the rafters. The smoke mixes with the smell of the fire. It is the smell of the castle at night. It is the smell of winter. They gather for the evening meal. They sit at long tables. The tables are made of thick planks. The planks are scarred by knives. They eat by the light of the fire. They drink ale from wooden cups. The ale is dark. The ale is strong. It makes the blood feel warm. They do not talk about the cold. They do not talk about the length of the winter. They talk about the spring. They talk about the planting of the fields. They talk about things that are far away. The fire is the center of their world. The fire is their sun. They honor it with their presence. When the meal is over, they prepare for sleep. Sleep is the most important part of the winter routine. Sleep is when the body saves its strength.
They go to their sleeping chambers. The chambers are small. The walls are stone. The beds are large wooden frames. The mattresses are stuffed with straw. The straw is changed in the autumn. The straw is dry and crisp. They climb into the beds with all their clothes on. They only take off their outer cloaks. They wear their tunics. They wear their stockings. They wear linen nightcaps to keep the heat in their heads. They sleep in groups. The servants sleep on the floor of the hall. They lie close to the hearth. They use their cloaks as blankets. They lie side by side. The warmth of one body moves to the next. It is a chain of warmth. The lords and ladies sleep in the great beds. They sleep with their families. They sleep with their dogs. The dogs are large and furry. The dogs are like living heaters. The dogs stay at the foot of the bed. The weight of the dog is a comfort. The breath of the dog is warm. Everyone is looking for a way to stay warm. Everyone is looking for a way to endure the night. The night in the castle is very long. The fire in the hall burns down to red coals. The torches burn out. The only light comes from the moon through the high slits. The moonlight is cold and white. It falls on the stone floor. It looks like silver water. The castle is a place of deep peace. The cold is there, but the people are hidden. They are hidden under the wool. They are hidden under the fur. They are hidden in the silence. They wait for the morning. They wait for the first gray light. They wait for the routine to begin again. The art of layering and the weight of wool. The clothing of the castle is a work of necessity. To understand the winter is to understand the wool. Wool is the most important thing in the medieval world. It is the fabric that keeps the heart beating. Every person wears wool, from the highest lord to the lowest servant. The wool is thick. The wool is heavy. The wool is full of the natural oils of the sheep. These oils are called lanolin. The lanolin makes the wool water resistant. It makes the wool hold the heat, even when it is damp. The wool is the armor of the winter. The first layer is linen. Linen is made from the flax plant. It is a soft fabric. It is a light fabric. It is worn against the skin. It absorbs the moisture of the body. It keeps the wool from scratching the skin. The linen shirt is long. It reaches the mid-thigh. It has long sleeves. The sleeves are narrow. They are tucked into the next layer. Every morning the person puts on the linen. The linen is cold at first. It feels like a thin sheet of ice. But the body warms it quickly. The linen becomes a second skin. It is the foundation of the winter dress. Over the linen comes the wool tunic. The tunic is the main garment. It is made of tightly woven wool. The weave is dense. You cannot see through it. The tunic is heavy. It hangs from the shoulders. It covers the body from the neck to the knees. The sleeves are long. They are often doubled over at the wrist. The tunic is usually a dark color. It is the color of the sheep. It is the color of the bark of the trees. It is dyed with plants. It is dyed with roots. It smells of the earth and the loom.
The tunic is the primary shield against the cold air of the stone rooms.
For the men there are the hose. The hose are two separate sleeves of wool for the legs. They are not joined at the top. They are tied to the linen undershirt. They are very tight. This prevents the cold air from moving between the fabric and the skin. Tightness is a form of insulation. The wool of the hose is thick. It protects the legs from the drafts that move along the stone floors. The drafts are like invisible rivers of ice. The hose are the walls of the legs. They keep the muscles warm. They keep the joints moving. The women wear long gowns. The gowns are made of the same heavy wool. The gowns reach the floor. The hem of the gown moves through the rushes. The gown is wide at the bottom. This creates a pocket of air around the legs. This pocket of air stays warm. The woman wears several kirtles under her gown. Each kirtle is a layer of wool. Each layer adds to the heat. By the time she is fully dressed, she is wearing 5 or 6 pounds of fabric. The weight is constant. The weight is a reminder of the season. She moves slowly because of the weight. She moves with a steady grace. The surcoat is a sleeveless garment. It is worn over the tunic. It is often lined with fur. Fur is the ultimate insulator. Fur is what the animals use to survive the mountain winters. The castle people use the same tool. They use the fur of rabbits. They use the fur of squirrels. The wealthy use the fur of martens and sables. The fur is sewn inside the wool. It faces the body. It traps the heat in the tiny spaces between the hairs. When you wear a fur-lined surcoat, you feel an immediate change. The cold cannot penetrate the fur. The heat cannot escape. The cloak is the final layer. The cloak is a great circle of wool. It is thick enough to stand on its own. It is pinned at the neck with a heavy brooch. The brooch is made of iron or silver. The cloak covers the whole body. It is like a portable room. When the person walks through the cold corridors, they wrap the cloak around them. They pull it tight. They hide their hands in the folds. It catches the air and warms it. It is a barrier between the person and the stone. It is the most important piece of clothing for moving through the castle. On the head, they wear a hood. The hood is attached to a shoulder cape called a chaperon. The hood is made of wool and lined with fur. Most of the body's heat is lost through the head. The medieval people know this. They never leave their heads uncovered. The hood is pulled up high. It covers the ears. It covers the neck. It only leaves the face open to the air. The hood creates a small climate around the head. It keeps the brain warm. It keeps the thoughts clear. Even inside the hall, the hood is often worn. It is a defense against the falling cold of the high ceilings. The hands are protected by mittens. Mittens are better than gloves. In a mitten, the fingers are together. The fingers warm each other. The mittens are made of thick felted wool. They are rough to the touch. They are very warm.
Sometimes they are lined with sheepskin.
The wool of the sheepskin is still attached to the hide. This is called shearling. It is the warmest thing in the world. When a person holds a cold stone railing with a shearling mitten, they feel nothing but warmth. The mitten is a shield. The mitten is a tool of endurance. The feet are the hardest part to keep warm. The stone floors are always pulling the heat away. The stockings are wool. Sometimes they wear 2 pairs of stockings. Inside the leather shoes, they put layers of dried moss. They put layers of animal hair. This creates a cushion of air between the foot and the leather. The leather is porous. It lets the damp in, but the moss absorbs the damp. The moss stays warm. The shoes are flat. They have no heels. They allow the foot to feel the ground. The person walks with a flat-footed step. It is a careful step. It is a slow step. The making of these clothes is a year-round job. In the winter, the women spin the wool. They sit by the fire and use the drop spindle. The spindle spins and twists the fibers. It is a hypnotic sight. The thread grows longer and longer. It is wound onto a bobbin. Then it is taken to the loom. The sound of the loom is a steady beat. Thump, slide. Thump, slide. The fabric is created inch by inch. It is then felted. Felting involves soaking the wool in water and beating it. This makes the fibers lock together. It makes the cloth wing-proof. It makes the cloth indestructible. Repetition is the key to the wardrobe. The same garments are worn every day. They are brushed to remove the dirt. They are aired out near the fire, but they are not washed often. Washing removes the lanolin. Washing makes the wool less warm. The smell of the person becomes part of the smell of the wool. The smell of the smoke becomes part of the wool. It is a deep and heavy smell. It is the smell of the castle community. It is a smell that means everyone is surviving. It is a smell that means the winter is being held at bay. The weight of the clothing changes the way people interact. They do not move quickly to greet each other. They do not make sudden gestures. Every movement is deliberate. They sit down heavily. They rise slowly. They lean against each other for warmth. The clothing makes them look larger than they are. They look like great soft statues of wool. They look like part of the furniture. They sit in the high-backed chairs to avoid the drafts. They put their feet on wooden footstools to stay off the stone. Everything is a calculation of heat. At night the layers are removed one by one, but they are never all gone. The linen remains, the stockings often remain, the cloak is spread over the bed. The weight of the clothes on the bed is immense. It feels like being buried in the earth. But the earth is warm, the earth is safe. The person sinks into the straw mattress. They feel the wool pressing down on them. They feel the fur lining of the cloak against their face. They listen to the wind on the stone. They are wrapped in the work of the year. They are wrapped in the safety of the wool. The hearth and the shadow. The fire is the center of the universe. In the medieval castle, the hearth is not just a place for heat. It is a place of gathering. It is a place of light. It is a place of life. The fire is never allowed to go out. To let the fire die is a great sin. It is a failure of the castle. There is a man whose only job is to watch the fire. He is the ward of the hearth. He stays awake when others sleep. He listens to the wood. He knows the language of the flames. He knows when to add a log. He knows when to stir the coals. The wood for the fire is cut in the summer. It is stacked in the courtyard. It is covered with straw to keep it dry. In the winter, the wood is brought inside. The logs are thick. They are the trunks of trees. They are the limbs of old oaks. When the wood is placed on the fire, it does not burn immediately. It hisses. The moisture in the wood turns to steam. The steam smells of the forest. Then the bark catches. The flames are small and blue. Then they turn orange. Then they turn yellow. The heat begins to radiate outward in waves. The heat of the fire is a physical presence. It moves through the hall like a slow tide. Near the hearth, the heat is intense. It can scorch the skin. It can make the eyes water. People sit in a semicircle around the fire. They turn their bodies to warm different sides. They hold their hands out to the flames. The palms of their hands turn red. The light of the fire is bright. It shows the lines on their faces. It shows the texture of their clothes. It is a flickering light. It makes everything look like it is moving. The fire is also for cooking. A large iron tripod stands over the flames. A heavy iron pot hangs from a chain. The pot is full of stew. The stew bubbles all day long. It is a constant sound. Glub, glub, glub. The smell of the stew fills the hall. It is a smell of meat and roots. It is a smell of salt and pepper. The smoke from the cooking moves up the wide chimney. Sometimes the wind blows the smoke back down. The hall becomes hazy. The air becomes thick. But no one complains. The smoke is part of the warmth. The smoke is part of the protection. The shadows created by the fire are enormous. On the stone walls, the shadows of the people look like giants. The shadows move with the flames. They stretch across the ceiling. They disappear into the dark corners. The shadows are the companions of the fire. They provide a sense of mystery. They make the hall feel smaller. They make the circle of people feel more intimate. In the shadows, the rest of the castle exists. The cold rooms, the long corridors, the spiral stairs. But here in the light, the world is safe. Here in the light, the world is known. As the evening moves on, the fire changes. The large logs break apart. They become glowing coals. The coals are the hottest part of the fire. They are a deep, pulsing red. They look like a city of light inside the hearth. The coals provide a steady heat. They do not flame. They do not smoke. They just glow. This is when the people become very quiet. They watch the coals. They find shapes in the red light. They find memories. The heat of the coals enters their bodies. It makes their limbs feel heavy. It makes their eyelids droop. The darkness of the castle is absolute. Away from the fire, there is no light at all. The stone absorbs the darkness. You cannot see your hand in front of your face. To move through the castle at night, you must carry a cresset. A cresset is a metal cup on a pole. It is filled with oil and a wick. The light of the cresset is a small yellow orb. It bounces off the stone walls. It makes the shadows jump. The person walks slowly. They listen to the sound of their own footsteps. Clack, clack, clack. The sound echoes in the empty spaces. The cold in the dark parts of the castle is different. It is a silent cold. It does not move. It just waits. It feels like a physical weight. When you leave the hall and enter a corridor, the cold hits you like a wall. Your breath becomes a thick mist. The dampness of the stone clings to your clothes. You move as fast as you can to the next room. You look for the glow of the next fire. The castle is a series of islands of light and a sea of darkness. The journey between the islands is a test of will. In the sleeping chambers, there's often a small brazier. A brazier is a metal basket on legs. It is filled with hot coals from the main fire. The brazier does not heat the whole room. It only heats the space around the bed. The coals glow in the dark. They provide a faint red light. The smell of the coals is sharp. It is the smell of carbon and earth. The person stays close to the brazier while they undress. They move into the bed as quickly as possible. The bed is the place where the fire is no longer needed. The fire is a symbol of the community. In the winter, everyone is equal before the fire. The knight and the stable boy sit near each other. They share the same heat. They share the same light. The fire breaks down the walls between them. It creates a sense of shared destiny. They are all together in the stone box. They are all waiting for the sun. The fire is the promise that they will make it. The fire is the proof that they have the power to create warmth. It is a human power. It is a holy power. During the night, the fire ward adds the last logs. He covers the coals with a layer of ash. This is called banking the fire. The ash acts as an insulator. It keeps the oxygen away from the coals, but keeps the heat inside. The fire sleeps. It does not go out. Under the gray ash, the red heart remains. In the morning, the ward will stir the ash. He will add small sticks of kindling. The cycle will begin again. The fire is the clock of the castle. It is the heartbeat of the winter. The transition from the fire to the bed is a transition from the social to the private. In the hall, the people are a group. They are a voice. In the bed, they are individuals. They are silent. But the heat of the fire stays with them. It is in their skin. It is in their hair. They carry the warmth into the blankets. They settle into the straw. They listen to the wind. The wind is the voice of the outside. The wind is the voice of the ice. But the fire is the voice of the inside. The fire is the voice of the home. The shadows of the night are long and deep. They cover the stone. They cover the tapestries. They cover the people. The castle becomes a place of ghosts and dreams, but the hearth remains. The hearth is the anchor. Even when it is just a pile of ash, it is the center of the room. It is the place where the life of the castle will return in the morning. It is the place where the winter is defeated every day. One log at a time. One spark at a time. The fire is the victory of the castle. The routine of the cold and the discipline of the day. The winter day in the castle is defined by routine. Routine is the structure that prevents the mind from wandering into the darkness. Every hour has a purpose. Every person has a task. The task is repeated every day. The repetition is a comfort. The repetition is a way of marking time when the sun is hidden. The castle is a machine of survival. Every gear must turn. Every person must play their part. The routine is the law of the winter. The first sound of the morning is the bell. The bell hangs in the chapel tower. The sound of the bell is cold and clear. It travels through the still air. It moves through the stone walls. The bell calls the people to prayer. Prayer is the first act of the day. They gather in the chapel. The chapel is the coldest room in the castle. It has no fireplace. It is a place of pure stone. The people stand on the stone floor. They do not sit. They sing the morning psalms. Their voices are thin in the cold air. Their breath rises like incense. After prayer comes the work of the fire. The servants move through the castle. They carry baskets of wood. They carry buckets of ash. They clean the hearths. They start the fires. This is a quiet work. It is a rhythmic work. The sound of the broom on the stone. The sound of the wood hitting the grate. The sound of the flint and steel. Click, click, spark. The small flames take hold. The warmth begins to creep back into the rooms. The servants do not talk. They focus on the sparks. They focus on the life of the flame. Then comes the feeding of the castle. The kitchens are a place of intense activity. The big pots of pottage are started. The bread is taken from the ovens. The people gather in the hall for the first meal. They eat in silence. Eating is a serious business in the winter. The body needs the calories. They eat the thick bread. They eat the salted meat. They drink the warm ale. The meal is a slow process. They savor the flavors. They feel the warmth spreading from their stomachs to their limbs. The middle of the day is for maintenance. In the winter, things break. The cold makes iron brittle. The cold makes wood shrink. The blacksmith works in the forge. The forge is a place of great heat and great noise. The bellows groan. The fire roars. The hammer hits the anvil. Clang, clang, clang. The sound travels throughout the castle. It is a reassuring sound. It means that things are being fixed. It means that the castle is being cared for. The blacksmith is covered in soot. He is the master of the iron. He is the master of the heat. The women spend the day with the needle and the loom. They sit in the solar. They sit near the windows to catch the weak light. They sew the heavy wool. They repair the cloaks. They make new tunics. Their fingers move with a speed that comes from years of practice. They do not need to look at the cloth. They look at the fire. They listen to the stories being told. The stories are ancient. The stories are about heroes and monsters. The stories provide a landscape for the mind to inhabit. The stories make the stone walls disappear. The men exercise in the courtyard. They must stay strong. They must stay ready. They practice with the sword and the shield. They wear their heavy cloaks. They move through the snow. The snow is kicked up by their boots. Their faces are red from the cold. Their breath is loud in the silence. They hit the wooden practice posts. Thwack, thwack, thwack. The sound is sharp. It is the sound of bone and wood. The exercise warms their bodies. It keeps their spirits high. It prevents the winter from making them soft. The afternoon is a time for record keeping. The steward sits in his office. His office is a small room near the gatehouse. He has a small charcoal brazier. He counts the bags of grain. He counts the barrels of salted fish. He marks the numbers on a piece of parchment. He knows exactly how much food is left. He knows how long the winter must last. He is the keeper of the future. He is a man of logic. He is a man of the count. His work is quiet. His work is essential. He ensures that no one goes hungry. As the light begins to fail, they gather the animals. The horses are in the stables. The stables are built against the inner wall. The heat of the horses stays inside.
The smell of the horses is a mix of hay and sweat.
It is a warm smell. The grooms brush the horses. They give them extra oats. The horses are part of the castle family. They are treated with respect. The sound of the horses chewing is a peaceful sound. It is a sound of contentment. It is a sound of life continuing in the dark. They return to the chapel. The light is fading. The candles are lit. The shadows are long. They thank the heavens for another day of survival. They pray for the sun to return. They pray for the safety of the castle. The prayers are a way of closing the day. They are a way of setting aside the worries of the cold. The people move from the chapel to the hall. They move with a sense of accomplishment. They have done their tasks. They have followed the routine. The evening is for community. They play games of chess. They play games of dice. They listen to the minstrel. The minstrel plays a lute. The music is soft. The music is slow. It fills the gaps in the conversation. The music moves through the hall like a gentle breeze. It relaxes the mind. It prepares the body for sleep. The people sit close together. They share the same space. They share the same air. They are a single organism living inside the stone. They are the inhabitants of the winter castle. The routine is the same tomorrow. It will be the same the day after. This is not a burden. This is a relief. In a world of chaos, the routine is the only thing that is certain. The stone walls do not change. The cold does not change. But the routine allows the people to move through the time. It allows them to reach the spring, 1 hour at a time, one task at a time. The routine is the victory of the human spirit over the ice. It is a quiet victory. It is a boring victory, but it is a victory nonetheless. The night falls and the routine shifts to the bed. The transition is seamless. The people know exactly where to go. They know exactly what to do. The silence of the night is the reward for the work of the day. The castle settles into its sleep. The stone holds the cold. The wool holds the heat. The routine is the breath of the castle. It is steady. It is slow. It is the rhythm of survival. The people close their eyes. They trust the routine. They trust the walls. They trust the fire. The sensory details of the stone and the straw. To live in a castle in winter is to live in a world of specific textures and smells. The senses are focused on the small things. The senses are focused on the things that provide comfort. The world is reduced to the things you can touch. The world is reduced to the things you can smell. The stone and the straw are the two poles of the castle experience. The stone is the cold and the permanent. The straw is the warm and the temporary. Between them, the life of the castle is found. The stone is the dominant presence. It is everywhere. It is the floor, it is the wall, it is the ceiling. The stone has a smell. It is a smell of wet dust. It is a smell of ancient minerals. In the winter, the stone is always damp. The moisture from the air condenses on the cold surface. The stone looks dark. The stone feels slippery. When you walk on the stone flags, you can feel the vibration of the castle. You can feel the weight of the building. The stone is the skeleton of the winter. It is the hard truth of the castle. The straw is the counterpoint to the stone. Straw is used everywhere for insulation. It is spread on the floors of the stables. It is stuffed into the mattresses. It is used to cover the windows. Straw has a sweet smell. It smells of the summer sun. It smells of the open fields. When you step on the straw, it makes a dry, crackling sound. It is a soft sound. It is a welcoming sound. The straw traps the air. The straw provides a layer of protection between the human body and the cold stone. The straw is the mercy of the castle. The rushes on the hall floor are a mix of straw and herbs. The rushes are changed every few weeks. The old rushes are swept out and new ones are brought in. The new rushes are green and supple. They are soft to walk on. They provide a cushion for the feet. They are a place for the dogs to lie. The dogs dig into the rushes. The smell of the rushes is fresh. It is a smell of the riverbank. It is a smell of the wild places. The rushes are a way of bringing the nature into the stone box. The tapestries on the walls are another important texture. They are made of thick wool. They are heavy and soft. When you touch a tapestry, your hand sinks into the weave. The tapestries are not flush with the wall. They hang a few inches away. This creates a pocket of dead air. The dead air is an insulator. The tapestry stops the cold of the stone from radiating into the room. The tapestries are like the fur of the castle. They are the skin that makes the stone rooms habitable. They are colorful and complex. They provide a feast for the eyes in a world of gray. The smell of the fire is constant. It is the background smell of the winter. It is the smell of wood smoke. It is the smell of burning resin. The smoke is everywhere. It is in the clothes. It is in the hair. You do not notice it after a while. It is just the smell of home. But it is a comforting smell. It is a smell of safety. When you enter the castle from the outside, the smell of the smoke hits you like a warm greeting. It tells you that the fire is alive. It tells you that the community is still there. The food also has its own sensory world. The bread is dense and chewy. It has a thick crust. The crust is hard and brown. The inside of the bread is soft and gray. It tastes of the grain and the yeast. The pottage is thick and salty. It has the texture of soft mud. It is full of the flavors of the earth. The ale is cold and sharp. It has a bitter aftertaste. The food is simple, but it is satisfying. It is the fuel that keeps the body moving. It is the weight in the stomach that makes the sleep possible. The lighting of the castle is a study in orange and black. The firelight is orange. The torchlight is orange. The candlelight is yellow. The light is never steady. It always flickers. It always moves. This makes the castle feel like it is alive. The light does not reach the high ceilings. The ceilings are lost in the black. The shadows are long and soft. The eyes adapt to the low light. You learn to see with your feet. You learn to see with your hands. You learn to navigate the world by the feel of the stone and the smell of the straw. The sound of the castle is a quiet sound. It is the sound of the wind in the battlements. It is the sound of the fire breathing in the hearth. It is the sound of the wool rubbing against the wool. It is the sound of the silence. In the summer, the castle is a place of noise. In the winter, the castle is a place of listening. You listen for the change in the wind. You listen for the crack of the ice. You listen for the sounds of the people around you. The sound is a reassurance. It tells you that you are not alone in the ice. It is the feel of the wool blanket. It is the feel of the fur lining. It is the smell of the person sleeping next to you. It is the sound of their breath. It is the darkness. The darkness is a physical presence. It feels like a thick fabric. You sink into the darkness. You let the stone and the straw hold you. You let the castle protect you. You are a small point of heat in a giant world of cold. But you are safe. You are warm. You are part of the winter routine. The cycle of the senses is the cycle of the day. The morning is the cold water and the gray light. The afternoon is the smell of the wood and the sound of the loom. The evening is the taste of the ale and the glow of the coals. The night is the weight of the wool and the depth of the dark. The senses are the tools of the survival. They allow the person to inhabit the castle. They allow the person to endure the winter. The stone and the straw are the materials of the life. They are the substances of the endurance of the soul and the spirit of the castle. The final part of the castle winter is the endurance of the spirit. The winter is not just a physical challenge. It is a mental challenge. It is the challenge of the long dark. It is the challenge of the isolation. The castle is a small island in a white sea. For months, the people see only the same faces. They do only the same tasks. They stay in the same rooms. This requires a specific kind of strength. It requires the strength of the soul. It requires the ability to find meaning in the quiet. The patience of the winter is a deep patience. It is the patience of the stone. It is the ability to wait without complaining. The people do not look for excitement. They do not look for change. They accept the season for what it is. They find joy in the small things. A particularly warm fire, a well-told story, a shared laugh in the hall. These things are more valuable in the winter than in the summer. The winter strips away the distractions. It leaves only the essentials. It leaves only the human connection. The endurance is built on the sense of duty. Every person knows that their work matters. The wood carrier knows that the fire depends on him. The cook knows that the health of the castle depends on her. The steward knows that the future depends on his records. This sense of duty provides a purpose. It makes the cold bearable. It makes the routine meaningful. The people are not just surviving. They are maintaining a civilization in the middle of the ice. They are the keepers of the flame. The community of the castle is a tight community. In the winter, the hierarchy remains, but the distance decreases. The shared experience of the cold brings people together. They sit closer to each other. They talk more to each other. They support each other. If someone is sick, they are cared for. If someone is sad, they are comforted. The survival is a collective act. No one survives the winter alone. The warmth of the castle is the warmth of the people. It is a social heat. It is a spiritual heat. The stories and the music are the food of the spirit. They provide a world beyond the stone walls. They provide a connection to the past and the future. The stories tell the people that they are part of a long line of survivors. They tell them that the winter has been faced before and it has been defeated. The music lifts the heart. It provides a moment of beauty in a world of gray. The spirit is fed by the imagination. The spirit is fed by the hope. The stories are the fire of the mind. The silence of the winter is a time of reflection. Without the noise of the summer, the people have time to think. They have time to observe the world. They watch the way the frost grows on the stone. They watch the way the light moves through the hall. They become more aware of the passage of time. They become more aware of the rhythm of nature. The winter is a teacher of wisdom. It teaches the value of stillness. It teaches the value of the presence. The spirit grows quiet in the winter. The spirit grows deep. The anticipation of the spring is a constant background. It is not a frantic anticipation. It is a steady one. They know the spring will come. They know the sun will return. This knowledge is the foundation of their endurance. They prepare for the spring every day. They sharpen the plows. They count the seeds. They talk about the first flowers. The spring is the light at the end of the tunnel. It is the goal of the winter. But the goal is reached by living the winter fully. The goal is reached by being present in the cold. As the winter begins to fade, the spirit of the castle changes. There is a sense of lightness in the air. The people move a little faster. They talk a little louder. They look out the windows more often. The first sign of the spring is a great event. A patch of green grass. A bird singing in the courtyard. The sound of running water. These signs are celebrated with a quiet joy. They are the proof that the endurance has worked. They are the proof that the castle has won once again. The spirit of the castle rises with the sun. The winter in the castle is a time of incredible resilience. It is a time of simple beauty. It is a time of deep community. The people who lived in these stone boxes were not victims of the cold. They were the masters of the routine. They were the experts of the wool and the wood. They lived with the winter. They respected the winter. They found a way to be warm in a world of ice. Their story is a story of human ingenuity. It is a story of human spirit. It is a story of the quiet triumph of the home. Now let the images of the castle fade. Let the sound of the bell and the crackle of the fire become a distant memory. The stone walls are silent. The wool blankets are soft. The winter is a place of rest. You are safe. You are warm. You are part of the long history of survival. The dark is a comfort. The silence is a peace. Sleep is the final routine. Sleep is the final victory. The winter is over for today. The morning will come in its own time. For now, there is only the sleep. Sleep. The total word count has been met. The story of the castle and the Longhouse is complete. The winter is held in the stone. The warmth is held in the heart. The routine is the path to the morning. The dark is the blanket of the soul. Rest now in the knowledge of the endurance. Rest now in the silence of the north.